Thank you, Carol. Welcome all of you, new friends and old friends. At the beginning of every year, we often talk about making a New Year resolution. In the last few years, the world has become more chaotic and dangerous. Taking my usual walk one morning, I overheard this elderly man talking on the phone. The tone of his voice sounded tense. If this were 7 a.m. in the morning, he's already stressed out. I wonder what is the rest of his day look like. And 10 days into the New Year's, we just kidnapped a foreign country's president and seized an oil tank. And now we're going to talk about overtaking another country. And trigger happy ICE agent just gunned down a woman who is a mother, a poet, and a writer. 6 blue states just lost funding for child care services. So I'm wondering, my heart is broken in thinking that the life has become so cheap in the United States. And I wonder if it would make any sense for me to make a New Year's resolution. And this has been weighing on my heart as I was preparing for my sermon. And I wonder what I can say to inspire you this morning. And through quite a bit of reflection and meditation, I'm reminded there are more kind and compassionate people out there. We're not alone. These are the people who are willing to get up, do the work, and fight for justice and make this a better world. In this new year, we cannot become numb or let all the bad things weigh us down and prevent us from doing whatever it takes, even if it's very small. This makes me motivated to talk about how we're going to face the new year. We often joke about making New Year's resolution, by the way, knowing that we might not keep them. So why don't we follow through on our New Year resolution? Maybe we didn't really mean it. Or our motivation is not deep or strong enough. Or maybe we didn't really have a plan. Or our past has stopped us from going into the future. To make this new year different than the one we just had, we need to be mindful and purposeful when we cross over into the new year. For several years, my friends and I will organize a ritual where we would stand on one side of the room and silently reflect on what it means to welcome the new year. And on the floor, there will be a beautifully decorated stick. When we're ready, we take a deep breath, we take a step over the stick. And this simple move represented our crossing into the new year. There are times when I dream about standing in front of a door, knowing that new opportunities are waiting on the other side. But when I put my hand on the doorknob, my hand was trembling. And I was afraid to open the door because entering the new room might require me to jump into something unknown. And I'm also burdened by the things I've been carrying before I got to this door. And as we cross over the threshold into the new year, we need to examine what is it we're carrying, what we're leaving behind, and lighten our load to embark on this new journey. In Stevie Nicks' song, we just heard, Landslide, we play before the service. She reflected on the time passing, full of pain and loss. She lamented her fear of change as she aged. But she also sang about the courage it would take to keep going. What keeps our resolution from becoming reality may be something we carry since last year or our history with unresolved issue. Without unloading some of the old habit, we don't have enough energy to chart a new course. At the end, the new year turns into another old year. Recently, I've been burdened by fear and judgment in dealing with a neighbor. I lost sleep for several nights. Following my old habit, when I deal with problems like this by running away or stewing on it, so I stuck and couldn't cross over the threshold to break free. I realized I'm in this middle of suffering. Buddhism talks about the first noble truth is suffering. What does that mean, though? It means that sometimes we're clinging to our point of view and want to make change our way. So at this moment, a voice in me asked me to see my trouble with this neighbor as the world's trouble and ask how I could turn it into compassion and love. I realized the only way to stop suffering is not to make this my problem, but fix it as our problem. And I needed to turn my personal injury to our injury. I found a more compassionate and loving way to see the issue, and I was able to fall asleep. I felt lighter in the morning and ready to face the problem I shared with my neighbor. Now, this one moment of enlightenment doesn't mean that everything else is changed. I need to continue to work on my habitual pattern. Often when the bad news hit me, I feel hopeless and helpless because I'm not so sure how to fix it. And I cannot wish it just go away. I'm stuck in the perpetual state of anguish and depression and any numbers of feelings. They have become part of my luggage. Crossing the threshold into the new years, I need to have courage to let go what I'm dragging around. I have a painting in my house. It looks like sunlight beaming through the woods and the canyon. Its name is called Pakarina. In Amazon Indian language, it means doorway. The first time I saw it in the art gallery, it took my breath away. And I thought I saw God. Now that's very strange. It's very unusual because I seldom ever refer to God. The painting evoked a strong connection in me. There were no words. The artist said to me, wherever I place the painting, there is the door. In our life, doorways are everywhere. The question is, are we ready to walk through them? What awaits us on the other side? What stops us at the threshold? Some people go through a doorway without thinking. They treat a New Year's Day just like any other day on the calendar. But others stop for a moment. What do we do at that moment can make a huge difference. To some people, this painting is nothing but lots of beautiful colors, and it's good for decoration. But I saw something deeper. Now, you are at the doorway or the threshold. What is the emotional baggage that weighted you down? What are the habitual patterns of dealing with your life that are not working? Perhaps it has been difficult to let go your baggage because you have learned to depend on it and even define yourself with it. This new year represents a new opportunity to learn to let go of what is not working. If using our anger and despair and hopelessness has not made this world any better, do you have enough courage to find a new way to be so that you might have a chance to help the world? A young monk went to this old monk and asking for wisdom. The old monk served tea. As the tea started to overflow the cup, the young monk called out, "Wait, stop, there's no more room in the cup." The old monk says, "You have come to learn something new, yet you haven't emptied your cup." So, to create a new experience and start a new life, we need to empty our cup or let go our travel bag. I don't think it meant that we just dump out our life altogether. I believe we need to reflect on our past and capture our life's lesson and let it shape us who we are and prepare us for the journey. Buddhism doesn't see the new year as a time to make rigid resolution, but as an opportunity for mindful renewal and self-reflection and letting go of the past to live more in the present. It emphasized that true change comes from daily intention and action rather than a specific calendar day. This often involves practice such as spiritual cleaning, temple visits, generosity, setting heartfelt intention to cultivate kindness and wisdom. Here are some key perspectives when it comes to Buddhism. First one is the most important one. It's called impermanence. The new year highlights that everything changes. The past is gone. The future is not here yet. So focus on the fresh and mindful action in the present moment. After I turned 70, I became keenly aware of the limited duration of one's life. While I might have planned for the future, I realized I need to live every present moment fully. Crossing threshold gives me a chance to reset my life with this reminder. The second perspective is intention. Action rooted in the true intention creates the right karma. A new year is a chance to set the intention for kindness, compassion, and wisdom. If we really want to create a new year, we need to ask ourselves who we really are. What do we want to be? What's our intention? Huh? Next one is renew and letting go. Practice life like deep cleaning. Okay, we're talking about spiritual cleaning, not just the house, but also the cobweb in our minds and in our hearts. So this is symbolized that shredding all the negativity and the attachment we have from the old life. Next one is mindful action. Instead of making resolution out of guilt, I've done that many times, Buddhism seeks genuine self-transformation through practices such as meditation and ethical living. The new year gives us a chance to reset ourselves. Zen practitioners often like to call it come back to ground zero. Forgive ourselves and the world with compassion and start again. I know it is very hard, but if we don't want to become the evil we see in the world, we must learn to regain our own basic goodness and see the hope beyond despair. Basically, Buddhism reframed the new year from trying to change the world into changing ourselves, encouraging a fresh and compassionate and mindful approach to life every day, recognizing the potential for a truly new year within ourselves. On a social media called Little Buddha, author Celia wrote, relaxing a long-held belief isn't a one day or 1 week or 1 year process. It would take a conscious effort. So she suggests a 5-step process to letting go what bogged down us. First one is write an honest list, obviously. All the things that your belief, your thoughts, your behavior that weighted you down. Make sure you think about it in 30 minutes or so. Write it down. Do not censor yourself. Be honest. Second one is reflect on each of these items you just wrote down and think about what is the source of this behavior. Track back in time and see where did you pick up these items. Could be family origin, that we have a lot of old habit because of that. Or are you full of disillusionment about the current world that wouldn't let you see the possibility of change? Acknowledge the painful memory, but don't wallow in it. Number 3 is find at least one positive in each hurtful experience. Look at the silver lining in your cloud. Through therapy, I discovered I've been a doormat to my ex-husband. That whole experience taught me to be strong and find my own voice. And then remember that single man who dared enough to block the path of a column of tanks in front of Tiananmen Square in 1989. Among all the state-sanctioned brutality and killings, we still will find more than a sparkle of humanity when we see people rise and stand on justice. Number 4 is creating affirmation to foster the change and counteract the negative thoughts. Turning one positive lesson into affirmation or statement of intention can help us focus the positive future behavior and free us from the past. We need to make this affirmation actionable and tangible. And this represents our commitment. The 5 is practice patience and mindfulness, obviously. Okay, dogs. It takes time to change habits, especially when they're rooted in deep hurts and fear. Check in with yourself regularly through meditation and journaling. One of the greatest singers and songwriters, Bruce Springsteen, has some wise thoughts around the subject. You can find your identity in the damage that's been done to you. You can find your identity in your wounds, in your scars, in places where you've been beaten up, and you turn them into a medal. We will wear the things we have survived with some honor. But the real honor is about transcending them. By taking the time to identify and understand our baggage, making a conscious effort to transform what weighed us down and let the rest of them go, we can free ourselves to find a new way to live our lives, including a new way to fight against tyranny, from resistance to active engagement. A true resolution lies in the level of commitment and intention, whether it's about losing a few pounds, which I'm working on forever, or fighting for social justice. To change the world, we first need to work to live our own humanity. Change needs a plan of action. We need to transcend our brokenheartedness for the current state of the world into compassion and resolution to make the change happen. Finally, we need to help the world see that we are at the doorway together. To cross the threshold into the new beginning, there's no them versus us. We need to recognize we're suffering together. Last time I was here, I talked about finding and creating an island of sanity, finding our beloved community. Well, why do we do that? It is time for us to expand the love and compassion so we could be refuge for each other. This is how we survive. And it is also a way to letting go of unhelpful path so that we can face the new year together. It's not just one day of the year, but this is the first day for the rest of our lives. And change starts now, however long it takes. Don't give up. Our world needs us. Namaste. Amen. Blessed be.